Yo, there he is. Lifetime Achievement Award. Local wrestling legend. Let's go. Big dog in the house.
They cut my speech.
Wait, what?
I had a whole speech planned, 2 pages, printed at Staples. They told me we ran out of time because the JV coach twisted his ankle during the dodgeball exhibition.
Okay, but like, you did get an award and free pizza. Oh, and they brought back Coach Miller and everything.
They wouldn't have done this to Joey D'Angelo.
Joey D'Angelo? Bro, he was a 4-time state champ and wrestled for Team USA.
And I almost placed at sectionals.
1 time.
I wanted pyro. I wanted my highlight reel. I wrestled 7 matches with the dislocated shoulder and 1 working earbud. I deserved a moment. And instead, they handed me this tiny ass trophy like it came out of a claw machine.
It did come out of a claw machine. Coach Miller said the budget went to the senior banquet shrimp.
I asked for a video montage. They showed 1 clip of me, and it was me getting pinned by Jason Chainsaw Hernandez.
That was the most dramatic moment in school history.
You know what? I should have done my farewell match in the parking lot with Mr. Padilla refereeing. At least then, I could have gone out on my own terms.
Dude, it's high school.
Not to me. To me, it was everything. I just need a minute.
Bro acting like he's Brock Lesnar or something.
And welcome back to 1, 2, Ooh.
All right. So Goldberg is mad. Like, big mad. Like, my entrance didn't have pyro and a motorcycle. Mad. But this time, it's because the WWE disrespected his retirement. Or, at least in his opinion. He says the company intentionally cut his speech from live TV, that his farewell wasn't handled right, that they wouldn't have done this to The Undertaker. Well, yeah. Because you're not The Undertaker. Let's be real. Let's get into this. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's taken the time to comment on my videos, like the videos, and also subscribe. It really means a lot to me when I'm able to get those subscriptions, and I appreciate every single one of them I get. So please don't forget to hit that bell icon. Don't forget to subscribe. If you love wrestling, I know you're going to enjoy my content. Now let's get into it. Let's start from the top, and let's start about what I, as a fan, thought of the Goldberg farewell match overall. And I have to say transparently, I thought it was handled better than I thought it was going to be. And this may be from the perspective of somebody who, I was never a mega Goldberg fan. I never looked at Goldberg as one of the higher echelon guys like The Undertaker or a John Cena or anything like this. But I understand the importance of what Goldberg brings to wrestling. The streak, the time that he was around, the dominance that he brought in, and you still see that style today. But when I looked at the Saturday night's main event, I thought the WWE actually did a better job than I thought they were going to with this. They spent most of the night highlighting his career, showing different moments, really building it up to the end of the night match, really trying to get you excited about getting to see Goldberg's final match. And I was surprised it went as long as it did. I was shocked that this match went 14 minutes because that was never really Goldberg's style. Like, not to be a jerk, but like, he wasn't this, mastermind in the ring or this technical wrestler. He was literally like, I would walk in, smash somebody, and pin him within 3 minutes. And if it wasn't done within 3 minutes, chances are Goldberg was losing that match, right? So for him to kind of come in and get to have this 14-minute match, and I thought Gunther did an unbelievable job at really highlighting Goldberg, made him look dominant, made him look good. And to me, in my opinion, it actually delivered. I thought there was a lot of high spots. They even gave Goldberg this moment where he hits the jackhammer and everything, and you go, man, if he was just split second quicker getting to that pin, maybe he beats Gunther tonight, right? And you put that in your mind because Goldberg is a legend, right? And it's nice that they did that for him, and then Gunther, gets the sleeper on him and puts him to sleep, which is what should have happened here, right? Like, Goldberg absolutely should have lost this match, and he did. That makes complete sense. I was completely fine with it. I did think the only thing I felt from the actual match that was strange was just the outro when he went to go give the speech and they cut live feed. I can understand how there could be some frustration there, but that to me was more of a, hey, we're short on time, and most people nowadays are going to go watch this on social media anyways. It's still going to be live on social media. The world is still going to see this speech. We just ran tight on the show, and these are shows that run extremely tight to time. So it was a better night than I expected. I didn't think the match was anything mind-blowing, but it was good for Goldberg. Like, I thought he looked better than he was going to. I was really concerned heading into it. He was going to look rough. So for me, I actually thought it went really well, and I was really surprised at the way Goldberg felt. So Goldberg's first point of contention was that the WWE intentionally cut his speech as he hints at it being like a rib on him or some sort of just one final jab at him. Now, I don't know what kind of 4D petty chess game people think the WWE is playing, but hear me out. I don't think it was anything like that. And if they told him he was going to have a couple minutes at the end, because the speech isn't very long, so it looks like he intended for it to be short, I don't think it was intentional to cut that out. There were a couple of things that really jumped out at me in this night that probably caused them to fall behind. The Seth Rollins injury. If this injury is legit, I can understand how this would mess up the time of the show. When he got hurt, essentially time kind of stood still in that match. We had to pause everything. You got the doctor coming out. You have the doctor checking on him. You have them trying to figure out, can he go? Can he not go? Can he at least finish the match? Can you get up and just take a BFT? And of course, my boy Seth Rollins did. And let's get the pin and let's move out of tonight and get the show continuing to go. Because in wrestling, as you know, the show must go on. But all of that took time. And unfortunately, though time kind of stood still on the show, didn't on TV. And that ticker kept going. And the network isn't going to care that, hey, you had something happen unexpectedly. Sorry, this is your time frame and we're going to cut you when we cut you. And I think that played a part in this. It just seemed like from that point forward, there was a bit of a disconnect on the show. We had a tempo change. And when things like that happen, I'm sure something has to be cut. And if I'm sitting back and saying, all right, do we cut a couple minutes off his in-ring time so he can still give his speech? Or do we just cut the speech and show it on social media? I'm going to cut the speech. Every single time. I was so shocked that the Goldberg match went as long as it did, which leads me to ask the question, was this match ever supposed to be 14 minutes long? There's these moments in this match, right, where it feels like Gunther is buying time for Goldberg. And like when Goldberg came to the ring, you know, and I got it. I think Goldberg trained really hard for this. So this isn't a knock at him not being ready. I think more of it's a knock of like, you're 58 years old and your body's been through pure hell. I'm sure it's very difficult to do a 14-minute match with no other in-ring time. It's like anything. You always hear wrestlers talk about it, right? There's no way to get your cardio up without ring time. You need in-ring actual action. And I think Goldberg was going to be a struggle either way to be able to go 14 full minutes. But there's these times in the match where you see Gunther like walk out and he's slow walking around the ring, goes up, has a moment with Gage, right? It felt very much like he's trying to buy Bill time to get his breath so he can hit that spear because he has to hit that jackhammer. And Gunther is not a small dude to be picking up, lifting up, and hitting with a jackhammer. That takes some strength, and I'm sure we want to make sure Goldberg has his win so it looks good and it's not a terrible looking jackhammer as his last one. So I do think that played a part in this, that maybe the match went a little longer than they thought it would. Time got tight. TV is TV. Sure. Should the WWE have found a way to communicate to Goldberg in the ring and just say, hey, like, don't go into your full speech mode. Just, you know, acknowledge the crowd. And then when we cut live feed, do your speech. And then we'll show your speech on WWE.com or the YouTube channel. Sure. I could understand how upset Bill could be in that moment, right? You know, they easily could have found a way, I think, to communicate to him in the ring and let him know what was going on. But instead, we got him giving this passionate goodbye to 15,000 people while the broadcast is already showing Slim Jim commercials. Now, Goldberg said something in his interview about this that really bothered me. He said they wouldn't have done this to The Undertaker or Cena. Correct. Because The Undertaker is The Undertaker. That's like saying they'd never make Tom Brady sit on the bench. Yeah. Of course they wouldn't. And what bothers me about that statement is just, there's a part of me that I want to sit back and just be like, Goldberg, you do realize you're not on their level.
Like, The Undertaker has this incredible resume that spans decades and decades, and he is in the argument for multiple matches that could be looked at as probably the greatest matches of all time. He's a part of some of the greatest moments in wrestling history, and you think that would be comparable to you exiting. And look, again, if you're a major Goldberg fan, that's fine, but let's be real. This guy is not on that level. I've never once met a wrestling fan who said, I'd put Goldberg on my Mount Rushmore. Meanwhile, there's plenty of argument for The Undertaker to be right up there with some of the greats. So I think this is a bad comparison for Goldberg to make. I think it's a little bit shows how disconnected he is, and almost like what are you thinking, man? Like this, I understand thinking highly of yourself, but this to me just shows there's a complete disconnect on what he thinks of himself and what the actual reality is. Goldberg has had a legendary run, but let's not sit back and act like every single moment was magic. Goldberg also cited in the interview, which I thought was interesting, that he was unhappy with the amount of time that was put into building up the match and the event. Only having 3 weeks to promote the event and also push the match out there and allow Goldberg to be able to invite some folks, allow Goldberg to be able to really promote it and build it up. He thought that it should have had more like 6 months. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I could have watched a 6-month build to this match, nor do I think I would have cared. I actually think, if you think about it, it's smarter for him to have the shorter build because it creates this spark of like, oh my gosh, we're going to see Goldberg's final match. And I think it created an initial excitement, which honestly, I started to lose some of it as each week went by and I watched Goldberg come to the ring to face Gunther and do promos back and forth. Goldberg was either limping into the ring or he just wasn't as imposing as he used to be. So there was a part of me that was like, why is Gunther even scared? Like Gunther should honestly squash this guy. At 58 years old, like unless Goldberg comes in and just ends this really fast, I thought this should have been more of a squash style match where Gunther just kind of runs through him. And as the build went on, I kept feeling less and less interested in this, where it wasn't really about the match. The only thing that excited me about this was the prospect of it being Goldberg's final match, and you're going to see the end of his career. So I don't think we needed a 6-month build for this, even though I do understand why Bill wanted this to be made a bigger deal. I get it. He wants the John Cena treatment. And who doesn't? I think many times when you're the athlete or you're the star or you're this person, you may have a different view of yourself than what the reality is, or maybe the fans have. And Goldberg in this situation, I think, is very much a victim of that and thinks this should have been this massive ordeal. The only thing I hated about the build was the way we got to the match. It didn't make sense to me. Goldberg's just getting a title shot because he's, well, Goldberg. I just don't agree with that. I think we could have done something a little smarter. I thought if Gunther would have come out and said, you know, I've been crushing everybody. I've ran through so many of the greats. Is there anyone in that back locker room that thinks they can come and beat Gunther? I dare you to come out here, and boom, Goldberg comes out. Like that to me would have made more sense. It would have tied everything together. I would have said, oh, due to an open challenge, he's going to face Goldberg. That makes sense. I can eat that one. So after listening to everything Goldberg said and kind of looking at the match myself, you have to ask a question, right? Did the WWE disrespect Goldberg? My answer is no. Was the WWE perfect in handling Goldberg's retirement match? Also, no. I think Goldberg just wanted this perfect ending. But here's the truth. WWE gave him a proper match with Roman. He had his match with The Undertaker. A great farewell with Gunther. That's more than most legends get. At this point, appreciate it, man. Like, and that's my honest feedback. And I know that can probably be tough to hear, but for Goldberg, like, take a step back, really look at the moment and think about what took place. I thought them doing the event in Atlanta, you having over 100 of your personal friends there, and the way they highlighted your career, it may have not been perfect, but it's more than a lot get. It's more than most get. And for that, I do say thank you to Goldberg, man. You know, what he did at that time in wrestling and what he did for WCW was really unbelievable. And as much as I give Goldberg a little bit of grief and push back a bit, he has a spot in the history books, man. He was the perfect guy to play that character.
this unstoppable beast. When you heard that music, it didn't matter how many people were in the ring. You knew pure dominance was coming. But enough about my thoughts, enough about my opinions. What do you all think? Is Goldberg right to feel slighted? Did the WWE disrespect my man in his final match? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you hit that like, smash that subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another episode of 1, 2, Ooh.